And we are all in this together. And we need to listen to one another and find common ground. Now, it's not adequate for me just to simply say that to you and just kind of leave it at that, because that's almost, frankly, more of a talking point. You sent a business fella up to Washington, and I just have this real bias toward what are we trying to accomplish, what are the steps that we're going to take to get there, and did we get there, and hold us accountable. Hold me accountable as I hold others accountable. I expect to be held accountable. So, when I see our country all kind of wrapped around the axle here, and we're not meeting our obligation to these beautiful young children and these handsome young men in the back, William and others, we got to do better. So here are 3 practical steps that I'm using to help really, this may be an odd word, but to me it applies, to really to help heal our country. And there are these. First is elevating the level of civility in the public square. The level of civility in the public square. And I'll give you 2 quick examples of that. And I think it's partly because just how I was raised by my mom and dad. I always use the term, the title, president, when I'm referring to the president. It's President Obama. Now, I think this is good and right and proper. Because one day, we'll have a Republican president. I don't know when. Now, for me, sooner is better than later. I'm doing everything I can to make that happen. But when we have a Republican president, I'd like, in the home of Democrats, for them to raise their children to say, well, that's President Sanchez, or President Smith, or President Jones, or whatever the last name might be. Why? Because this is part of the glue that holds us all together as Americans. And another example, and this is rubbing a little bit of sandpaper on maybe my own party, but there are other ways I could show you that our friends, the Democrats, need a little sandpaper too, is I don't use the term Obamacare. Now, I think there's a better way to get more people health care at lower cost than that, and I voted to repeal it. But I don't refer to it that way, because my objections to the policy aren't personal to a person. It has to do with the policy itself. And I found this to be helpful. The second specific way that I'm really trying to find common ground and get us through this is by a deep respect for and pursuit of the facts of a matter. Facts are very hard to come by sometimes in Washington. And I think to some degree both parties kind of misuse this. And sometimes the facts of a matter will reaffirm something we've believed all of our life. Like, for example, we need to do a better job as Americans to move this country toward energy independence. I think it has so many benefits. It helps unleash the greatest job-producing engine the world's ever known, the American entrepreneur. So many job opportunities can be opened up through an environmentally responsible opening up of America's natural energy resources. And we're not doing a good job on that, and I'm a strong advocate for more of that. I think the facts lead us to that conclusion. But if the facts push back on something we believe for a while, we have to have the courage to wrestle with that and go where the facts lead us. The third is this, is just not questioning the motives of those with whom we disagree. You know, I don't know a Democrat, I really don't, who wants us our country to go into bankruptcy. So, you know, that's a simple, in my estimation, we have common ground, Republicans and Democrats. We want a sound fiscal budget. Now, we may have some pretty significant differences on how to get there, but I don't think we serve ourselves best and our country best by questioning the motives of others with whom we disagree. And I try to be careful about not doing that. I found this to be helpful. We have kind of a secret weapon in all this, and that's my wife Terry's gift of hospitality and her cooking. And so we have Democrats over. This is my wife Terry, and I think of her as a real patriot. She kind of set her life aside to stand with me in this season of public service, and she's a wonderful cook. I hope you get to enjoy her cooking one day. But we have Democrats over at our home, members of Congress, because it's important that we talk with one another and to listen to one another and to find common ground. Now, just in case you're either a hard Democrat or a hard Republican or whatever, you say, well, you know, Scott, that maybe sounds a little bit naive. Look, y'all, I know, I'm not talking about us all standing in a big circle, swaying back and forth and singing Kumbaya. You know, our country was founded on spirited debate. This is normal, this is expected. Yeah, it's spirited debate on the House floor. This is good for our country. But we can do so in a respectful way. We can have a real mutual respect for the facts of a matter and really use good data that we can all agree on. And one other practical way that I'm serving you and your families to accomplish that is that the first thing that I did with respect to forming a caucus was to form the Fix Congress Now caucus. You know, there's caucuses like, let's say this wonderful family here, they may all get together because they like, they want to be an advocate for a certain, like, Visit Pennsylvania, tourism. That could be a caucus, for example. There's a caucus that my friend started from Wisconsin. He helped start the Cranberry Caucus because they're big on cranberries. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not making fun of cranberries, but it did surprise me that this institution that we all know is broken, whether someone is a Republican or Democrat or had it with all the parties, which is an entirely defensible position, by the way, that there wasn't an institute, there wasn't a caucus focused on the institution itself, fixing it. I like to fix problems, and there's no shortage of problems up in Washington to fix. And so we have the Fix Congress Now caucus. We have just two wonderful Democrats that co-founded it with me, and we have two wonderful Republicans and lots of other folks who stood with us. And we meet regularly. We actually eat together, have dinner together, and talk. And this is good for our country. There is common ground. I'll close with this. If I grab a couple of these plates right here, and if you think of them as the political parties, Democrats and Republicans, if you start to move those two plates together, at some point they begin to overlap. That's basic geometry, I suppose, if you look at it on a flat plane. And they begin to overlap. And where they overlap, that's common ground. And I really think we need to look for it, to really search for it, and when we find it, celebrate it, and then have the courage to vote for it. It's fiscally sound policy, it's environmentally sound policy, and I think that's how we get through all of this. And I'm deeply appreciative for y'all carving out a bit of time. We may have overbooked ourselves today, that we're finding, because we're kind of a little bit late to almost every event. But we're headed now, I think, to Norfolk in a bit, and boy, we've had a wonderful day, probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 stops, including all the small businesses. So thank you all so much. I respectfully ask for your support on this. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. This really is a marathon. I never would have thought, this wasn't on the bucket list of life to run for office. And so here we are going, gosh, this is the coolest thing.
I'll take care of that.
We were up in Nancock a little while ago, standing on this beautiful oak tree. And it was almost surreal just to think, this is how we charted our country for 235 plus years of getting good folks to say, stand with us in this. And it's wonderful.
Thank you again.
Thank you all. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Man, all I said was I was trying to say that I don't agree with what you described. So in that sense, we're in agreement. Yeah, I'm with you. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, let's get that milkshake together. Good to see you all. Listen,
Thank you.
we're running to make sure you've got a bright future.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you for
We thank you.
so much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Nice. Welcome again to the shore. Please get on our email. This is an effective way to understand.
Yeah, I sure was on the website. Say hello and we can picture you. Hey, Paige.
We need, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming and spending this whole day on the Eastern Shore. God bless you.
Sir?
What a wonderful place. Is Terry out here? Or is she coming out?
Scott, nice seeing you.
Good to see you. Listen, we really enjoy being here.
Okay.
Appreciate the support.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to you. I'm in the middle of a little local political situation.
Okay, you got to navigate through that?
Yeah, but there's FEMA funds involved in it, so that's where I think you might have some help.
Do you know how to reach me?
Well, I got your card.
Got the card and all that?
And,
Okay.
I got my
Let us
packet.
know.
I have your packet.
Let us
Read that
know.
packet. You'll find something curious in there.
Okay.
And,
Well, I appreciate your leadership on council. I know
I
it's not easy.
was on council in 1988. I got on council when I was 30 years old, and I stayed on there for 12 years.
Okay.
Me and my daughter was 4 years old. My parents, we run the, you might know Scott Burgess.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm the local Anheuser-Busch distributor with my sister.
Yeah.
My sister and I are running a 126-year-old family business.
Oh, that's neat.
5
That
generations.
is really neat. I respect
So anyway,
that.
so I've done this council thing, and then I got back on because the hot button issue.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
awesome.
very
I tell
welcome.
you, I've just really been encouraged up and down the shore. It's just been wonderful. I certainly want to write the owner here to know.
Sure, I'll forward the address. Not a problem. Do you have your shake with you?
I think so,
Because
or
that
Terry
really helps
has
your
it.
throat. I know when I'm on the phone, they make a phone call.
Yeah,
That little shake
because
makes
we've
a
been
big
talking
difference.
since,
Whiskey and honey.
a little whiskey and honey, okay.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for coming by.
I really appreciate
Okay.
it. Thanks so much, Frank.
Scott, thank you again.
This is awesome. Thank you. We're good.
God bless you.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you for everything you do. Lady, hey, thank you for coming. That was so nice of you. I said, and they said, yes. I said, she's I didn't know you were going to come.